Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to the 2021 Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship. This time we are back with round 2 coverage, and I am once again joined by Elaine King. I'm excited.
I am more excited
Perfect.
because we're going to see some great action here for players, and they're going to be battling more windy conditions today than they did yesterday.
Now, the weather was a little bit unpredictable going into the day. They were calling for a little bit of rain, but I think we might see it hold off. But we saw this hole yesterday. Some of our players had a little bit of trouble, but hole 1 is just so iconic, Elaine.
It is, and you know, it's not a tough hole, but it's a tough hole to play your very first shot of the day. And so, as you saw, there were the 2 mandatories. There is the big log, but it's a straight shot otherwise.
Yeah, and the log is really the new feature this year that is going to play a little bit trickier than years past. So really, you're going to want to see these players push that shot as far down the fairway as they can while still being in the air.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes when you want to throw an accurate shot, the tendency is to throw it low, but the players can't afford to do that if they want to go for the 2.
Now, this woman right here, Paige Pierce, came out on a mission yesterday, shooting 6 under par, 4 clear of the field. Let's see if she can put the foot on the gas early.
Well, already she's starting a bit better than she did yesterday, despite that
Little
bang off the
misrelease
tree.
there. Yeah, but she at least has a pretty open route to the basket off to that right side. Really not too much danger after you make the Mandos, fortunately. Now, Valerie Monduhano, we've seen her a few different times throughout the season. One of the Monduhano sisters, up-and-comers. I mean, they've been playing for a long time, but now really are arriving at the pro field this year.
Well, I think what you see is both the sisters are more seasoned and they're touring more. And look at that beautiful shot. Just threads through the trees. And it's just at the edge of the circle. She'll have a slightly uphill putt and a great chance to start with the 2 on the card.
Yeah, great shot, but did push a little far. You know, that is the danger. With that tree being there, it's tough to really slide it up right next to it. Heather Young now, lefty on the card. We saw her on the lead card multiple rounds last year at the Women's National Championship. Her game just sets up so well for this course.
Well, I think it's a matter of she understands her abilities very well, and there's
That's one of them.
Well, I think getting around that tree to the right might not have been in the game plan, but it's certainly very fortunate, and she's got just a short tap in. But yeah, Heather's strength is she doesn't try to bite off more than she can chew. She is not one of the longer throwers, and she doesn't try to do it. She doesn't get overly excited and go for a shot that she can't execute, but instead she tries to minimize her errors.
Yep.
And that put her onto the podium last year.
And Sarah Holcomb, another player, really known for minimizing errors, playing to safe, just taking her birdies where she can find them. So excited to see, those two compared to Paige Pierce, big arm, very aggressive player.
And Paige has got a wide open shot to the basket.
Yeah, a little patent pending stance, but really no big trouble, I don't think, for Paige.
That's a routine shot for someone of her caliber. And there's an interesting stance that, Sarah's probably not practiced that stance a whole lot, but again, she's fairly unencumbered.
Ooh.
That was a little bit of a soft bid.
Yeah, actually, probably a little longer on the comebacker than she would have liked, but Valerie now looking to put the foot down and make up as many strokes as she can early.
Beautiful. And I
Great
was just
putt.
thinking as she threw, the wind is actually quite favorable going left to right, so she can, it's not going to push the disc too much.
Sarah now with the longer than you'd like comebacker for her par. Oh, just a bit high. Normally, the misses for Sarah are going to be low and high. She's always so good about being on her horizontal plane. It's always right on the pole.
And that's very comforting. That leaves you the freedom to really go for things. If you know you're going to hit a bit of metal, it's not going to go blazing by. And so Paige picks up her par with that. Look at that tap in for Heather.
That's such a good feeling, not to have a stressful putt. I mean, Val made it count from circle's edge, but Heather, no trouble. Drop in, move on to hole 2. You can see Mason Ford in the back there. Caddy duties for Valerie. They are together and really a disc golf power couple at this point. Lead cards all over the place.
Well, after Mason Ford's breakout win last weekend, of course, helping Valerie with the course.
Yep.
And hole 2, you want to place your drive just past this tree in this open area if you can do it. Then depending on where you're at, you can choose to fly as the drone flies over the grass, or you can go left to right over the parking lot, but just take care. There's OB to the left, to the right, long.
Yes, it looms large on this hole. First shot, I think is, not too stressful. You're really just trying to put yourself in position for the attack. Val going backhand here. Great shot, putting herself right in the meat of the fairway.
And she hyzered that out to give her more distance forward, which is not a bad plan at all. Now she's got the chance to decide if she wants to go aggressive over the parking lot or play it safer.
Heather, lefty, obviously is going to like a lot of these holes. They do play pretty favorably for the left to right flight of the disc.
Oh, and the wind is really good for Heather right now, pushing it over there to the right, but she clipped a little something that was not quite low enough to get full advantage of the distance.
534 feet. Heather can make that in 2 shots, but with 2, golf lines involved, this is a plus birdie, I think, for her.
It is. It's a matter of can you get under the tree branches to push that disc well out into the green space. Like that. Now, mind you, Paige, it's a little bit too low, but that was a nice line drive, making sure to get at least out a bit. And Paige, of course, has got more than enough power for the next shot.
Yeah, she could probably be anywhere on the fairway as long as it's past that main tree, and she's got a chance here. Sarah looking to keep it low again. Likely plays something pretty overstable and put some ante on it.
Yeah, the wind is pushing it left to right, so that will perhaps give her a few more feet on that throw.
Yeah, great spot to be. Again, not a dramatic tee shot, but it's all about getting an opportunity for this shot, which looks like Heather is going to be hanging it over the OB. This is pressure time.
Yeah, I'm not sure she can get all the way to the basket from where she is. So she'll be looking to get around those 2 trees and hyzer in short of the basket.
Whew, she pumped it. Uh-oh.
Skip, skip, skip.
Uh-oh.
Skips.
No. She is going to find the out of bounds, and she has to go all the way back to the front of that parking lot. Paige looking like she's going mid-range.
That's drifting a bit to the right.
But after Heather, not a bad mistake to make.
Well, that you want to err on the side of keeping it inbounds for sure. Valerie's got a great position, and it looks like she's got the line.
Yeah,
it's a little bit long.
I like how wide she played it, though. Really just staying off to that side and keeping it on hyzer, pushing it back towards the basket. Sarah now lines up. Probably just looking to go straight, straight, straight.
Beautifully done.
Quality golf there, Sarah. Again, though, now Heather is going to have to hang it over the OB again, albeit from about half the distance that she was at.
Absolutely. This should not be too tough a shot for her. It's just a matter of doing, like you said, hanging it out there. And she looked like she might have wanted to get it in the basket there.
Yeah, trying to ring it up. Oh, my gosh. Okay, Paige, I did not realize it was this in there.
A bit of a headwind for her to throw into. She gives it a soft go.
Yeah, not bad action on the disc, though. I mean, it's so difficult to get any sort of muscle on it when you're that pinched and have that rough of a lie.
Exactly. I think that the greater danger was she had to loft it up and had to make sure the angle was correct. Otherwise, the wind could really pick it up and take it. Whoa!
3 in a row. Valerie starting off with the turkey and capping that turkey off with 45? That was a great putt.
That was well outside the circle and through a fairly narrow gap. That was an impressive putt.
Heather lining up a gap shot of her own. Good hit and good save.
It's just easy when you can putt like that.
I mean, Heather is hands down one of the best putters in the world in the FPO division. It's so consistent, and they're always so true out of her hand.
And there's another one of the great putters, Paige Pierce.
Pretty routine par there, no damage done, and she's losing strokes to Valerie, but not too many at this point. She's got a few to play with.
And Sarah does a great job and picks up her birdie.
2 birdies, the bogey, the lone par for Paige, and the gap was 6. Now it's 3.
Yeah, that switched all of a
Quick,
sudden,
right?
didn't she? Okay, hole number 3. What a beautiful shot. You can see it here in the sunlight. You're playing downhill, but boy, it's hard to dial in what you really need to do. You can see how close the hazard line is on the left, and similarly, you'll see the stakes peeking out on the right. So it's quite a narrow island. I mean, it's not much more than 35 feet. And so these women will be looking to throw, a fairway driver or a mid-range and control it.
Yes.
You don't have to go to aggressive if you don't want to.
I love this hole because it offers 2, almost 3 very distinct options, but very fair. Hang it off to the right, hang it off to the left, or this beautiful looking straight shot from Valerie. Hold on.
Yes, beautiful looking straight
So
shot.
I actually did just say she had a turkey on hole 2. Doesn't make any sense, but I think that we're going to see one right here because this is the 3rd hole.
You're getting ahead of yourself. Yeah, and Sarah, being a sidearm, she's lots of room to hang it out to the right, picking a very stable disc and having it come back to the right. So let's watch and see if she can get the accuracy she needs.
Well, she threw it out there, but that disc was just stable. Fortunately, not finding a hazard. I think that's, at that point in the fairway, a lot of the brush to cut through to get it there. Paige lining it up. Probably looking to go buzz here if I know Paige. 389, right in that range for her.
Yeah, it throws a lot shorter than that, but you do want to make sure in this particular wind condition that you throw something very reliable.
Yeah, you can see those trees just moving about like crazy. Now, don't let the flags on the basket fool you, folks. Those are very thick flags, so it takes a lot of wind to get those things up and moving.
Yeah, and I think what we'll find is it's a left to right wind. You could see that with Sarah's drive and Paige's drive. She was probably expecting it to hyzer in, and it just did not. So Heather is throwing something super understable. Oof. And I don't...
Get there. Yeah,
no.
I kind of had that feeling out of her hand. It just turned, I think, probably a little more than she wanted to. That left to right wind, once that angle comes down, it really likes to just hold it.
Yeah, it's hard to recover from that. She just about had it. That's a great birdie bid from Paige. And, Corey, I think we're going to see this theme all day as the wind was doing something slightly different than the women thought it was. And, of course, up there at the tee, they're quite sheltered. They can't feel the full force of the wind.
Heather now really with a long par save opportunity. Ooh, her and Paige really scaring it.
Of course, Heather was throwing from a hazard area, so she plays it where it lies with 1 stroke penalty.
Sarah now, again, longer than you'd like par save, second on the first 3 holes. This time she converts, though. Quality putt.
And Sarah's putting has really been her strength the last few tournaments, and it's put her on high podium placements.
She really has been dialed with the putter. It's really impressive to watch. The past, few tournaments, almost feels like few months at this point. She has just really had a good season.
Yeah, I would say the past few months, what she's done is she's really leveled out her putt, and it's not the extreme pop it up way high and have it nosedive in.
Yes.
And of course, you find more success with putting when it's flatter because there's a larger distance from which you're going to hit metal in a good way.
Val now completing the turkey, and that is 3 birdies on the first 3 holes. She is hot fire right now.
And it's good to get a few birdies stored up because there are some tough holes. And as we've seen with the wind already on these first few holes, it's going to continue to be a factor as we get to parts of the course that are even more open and prone to wind gusts.
Yeah, just the lone birdie, the lone bogey, unfortunately, by Heather. She does drop to 1 down for the tournament, but hole 4 does set up quite well for a lefty lane.
Yes, and you're watching the drone fly out. You either want to place it out to the left, or if you're feeling overachieving, you can try and put it in this valley area. But then look what you have to do. You have to go way around the corner to the basket. And, it's a par 4 for that reason. It's a pretty tough 3. In order to get to 3, you've got to get yourself in a position where you can do a righty sidearm or a nice lefty hyzer.
Ooh, see, Valerie now opting for the sidearm. This is a little bit surprising. I was kind of expecting more of that straight backhand for position here.
Well, of course, the women have played this hole. I think it's a little more forgiving than it has been in previous years in terms of the amount of brush when you get to the corner.
Sure.
It's cleared out a lot more, and so it makes it less risky to try and do that sidearm shot.
Sarah going back to, I believe, is her trace.
Oh, she loves the trace.
Yes.
And it will turn hyzer on you very reliably.
Ooh, this looks good. Oh my God, nay, great.
That is the position you want to attack the green for a 3.
Paige gonna show us how the backhand is done with the sole. Extremely flippy, kind of mid-range, almost like a hybrid disc, but it comes out of hand quick. Push, push, push.
And as you said, boy, that turned over, and she's, maybe 7 feet from Sarah's disc, both of them just in perfect position to look to score the birdie.
Yeah, Heather looking to match. I mean, those 2 shots are, I don't know if it could get any better done than that. Those are picture perfect, so Heather's got a tall ask to match those.
Well, she's seen the line twice.
This looks good.
Yeah, it's a good stable disc. Just get down the valley, maybe a bit of a roll. She'll have a more extreme angle.
Yeah, and I think the lefty backhand on this amount of angle might actually play to her advantage over a righty with a sidearm. Just maybe like being able to pop it up with something a little flippier and get some glide into it maybe.
Yeah, and Valerie's disc really took kind of a funny skip there. I'm sure she was counting on it skipping up to more beside that mandatory tree. Heather with the wide hyzer. You don't want to push that Mando tree, but that's going to be a long putt for her.
Yeah, it was a good shot, but really from where she was, that's about as best as you're going to do. It's difficult to get it to really ride in there to the right. Paige now opting for the pretty overstable sidearm here. Going to look maybe to play it a little bit higher. Yeah.
Just like that.
Now hold on.
That's
perfect.
A great roll.
Yes.
Now, of course, the other thing that can happen is it can roll downwards, and the camera angle doesn't really show it very well, but it is distinctly downhill past the basket. So if you overstep the basket, you can find yourself much farther than you hope.
By the skin of her teeth, she makes it around the corner. She's on the green, maybe 25 feet. Nova out of Valerie, which is her signature disc. Boom, great shot. Novas fly so unique. They're like one of the strangest feeling discs ever, but one of the oh wow.
Beautiful.
Perfect putt right in the heart of the chains from Heather.
And it puts so much less pressure on Heather that she doesn't feel like she has to get that disc so close to the basket, and she can play that wider approach shot and not make an error.
Yeah, it really is amazing how far, as Sarah makes good too, how far being able to putt can take you on the tee as well. It just loosens you up. When you're not making your putts, you feel like you have to put it a foot away from the pin, and that goes with you all the way around the course.
on the drives, on the approach shots, if you feel like you have to put it within 10 or 15 feet, you take risks on those shots that if you didn't take that risk and put it 25 to 35 feet away, you might end up taking fewer bogeys and put yourself into birdie position.
Paige knocks down the birdie. 3 birdies on the card. That's rare air, I think.
That's extraordinary for this hole. It is one of the squirreliest holes.
Yes, absolutely. It's super funky, but actually, you know what? Almost like the polar opposite of this hole. This is such a true, pure hole. There's no kooky angles you gotta kind of go around. There's just really the decision if are you gonna air it over the green or over the water onto the green, or are you gonna play the more safe, conservative route and play it out and around this bush line?
I think this is a treacherous hole that doesn't look treacherous, but the slope of the fairway all the way down is toward the water. And it doesn't maybe look like it's an extreme angle when you're at the tee, but it's amazing how the discs drift towards the water.
Yes.
And a lot of competitors on the first day found their discs wet, and it surprised them.
I like the lefty or the sidearm approach here, really playing away from that low lake there, but we'll see, because Paige has shown this hole what's up for years now just by blasting 2 backhands along the bush.
Absolutely. Well, the sidearm certainly is the safer play. It's much less likely to go into the water, and you've got a lot of room, and you don't need to push the road on the right. But if you can control a backhand and just give it enough anhyzer angle and enough height and throw it with confidence, then you can do something like that. I mean, she knew that disc was going to turn, and that's not a power drive.
No, mid-range, straight in the middle, because she's setting up that second shot and really going to try and boom one with the driver. Heather really just looking to get past that little gully we saw Paige air it over. That's kind of like your distance marker. You're feeling real good about it if you can sneak it over that little undulation. If not, you're probably playing it a little more passively.
And of course, Heather, being a lefty, is playing it more on the left side of that gully where the ground dips, and it's easier to get past the gully. If you play it farther up the hill to the right, then you'll be like me and you'll be in that gully every single time.
No. All right. Ooh. A little bit of a misrelease, but really fights through pretty valiantly.
It did. I'm not quite sure what happened there. It looked like she wanted to throw a nice power anhyzer, but at the last minute her body said, I'm afraid of the water. Hold on.
Oh, man. It's so common. It's so difficult to really stay true on those angles.
So she'll try to correct that now, and that's hyzering.
But it's a slow disc.
Stop.
Playing it fast, playing it loose, but guess what? She's in perfect position now to cross the water. I'm loving the dies on all these discs too. It's like it's becoming more of a thing, I feel like, for a lot of these players. Like, some of the Instagram dyers will just send these discs to the players, and it's like, what a beautiful piece of art. Of course I'm throwing it.
Well, yeah, disc dyeing was extremely popular 20 years ago, and I know I had a bag where every disc I had was dyed.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh,
and then
that's
it
great.
seemed to not be as popular, but the technology now allows more intricate patterns that don't bleed.
Yes.
The way that the old dyes did.
Very true. Word of the wise, Queen Helene's lotion is like the best base to do your dyeing. So if you're want to get into the dyeing game, I suggest going to that. Bath and Body Works. That's where they sell it. Just saying.
There's a tip, folks. Start your own small business.
Yep. Now we see Valerie after the, fringy, almost OB shot. She's right
That's low.
there.
That's low.
Using every bit of the space that she took there. That was any further back, and that's probably in the drink.
And Heather, of course, with the lefty shot, that's actually a safer way for Heather to go than to try and get around on the land side.
Yeah. Sarah now really is going to probably play a little more safe. Never mind. She
wasn't
is
listening
going
to you.
for it.
She wasn't listening, and she should have.
Yeah, I'm out of bounds. And She can take it where she was last in, but she probably is going to back up just a little bit just to get off of that water's edge.
Yeah, and what she's not accounting for is the fact the wind is pushing against her disc. And yeah, she needed to play on a safer landing point on her first shot, and that would have worked.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, Paige, as you said, blasted her second shot not as far as she did yesterday. So in
No.
fact, she's blind to the basket.
Yeah. She is going to have really like a 40-foot putt, 38-foot, right into the teeth of the wind, it looks.
And that wind is shifting around a little bit. So Heather's saying, forget it. No, I'm
Just
not.
chip it up there. Get out of here.
She's a great putter, and when a great putter says, I'm not even going to try, you know it's probably not a good idea.
Val just, I feel like in her heart of hearts that was 1% trying to make it in, but probably just a layup.
Well, you might as well lay up past the basket
Yeah,
than short
right?
of the basket.
Paige, a little bit off the mark there, but tap in pars. Nobody's scoffing at that.
It is so hard to putt aggressively when the wind is doing that. Wow,
Dunks it in.
that was so high.
Yes.
I would be afraid to
I
putt
know,
that
right?
high.
You mentioned earlier how her putt's so flattened out. That was like that was classic, vintage.
Yes, she went back to her old style of nose down, putting it way up, and that actually, I mean, it's a really safe putt.
Yeah, especially in the wind, you're not going to get a lot of wind action off of that angle on the disc. It's not going to, flutter up and fly past the basket or anything.
Well, with nose down and a headwind, it's going to push the disc
Yeah.
down. So that was a great, great putt by Sarah.
Yeah, quality save too. I mean, this hole you throw in the water, it's so easy to let them just start stacking up on you. So she does save the bogey and doesn't drop too many strokes as the rest of the card here just settles with pars. Moving on though to hole 6, really plays at a disadvantage for a player like Sarah or even Heather. I mean, she's got the sidearm, but this is a righty backhand's dream here.
It is, because you have to keep it low coming into the basket. And when you're throwing Anheuser as a lefty, you can't do that. But this grass, as we saw yesterday, is so skippy that a right-hander can throw a super stable disc way out to the right and just let it skip all the way into the sand.
I love this hole. It's just so true and pure, and there's no funny business. I mean, the OB is a little bit of the funny business, but the shot itself is just such a good disc golf shot.
And there we see Paige doing what we suggested was the play: take a super stable disc, push it way out right, and let the disc do all the work at the end.
Exactly. We saw her pretty much do the same shot, same distance from the pin yesterday, maybe just on the long side instead of the short side today. So she clearly has this hole dialed.
So Heather is sidearming it. It might be a little bit challenging her
Ooh,
the distance she can get the sidearm.
little slippage on the tee too. Never helpful.
No, I think it's not a bad thing. It just hit a tree
Yeah.
and sat.
Yes. We're on the same page there. Valerie looking to improve on that. As you can see, she's checking the grip on there after seeing Heather slip. Ooh,
Well,
Come on
it's
back.
low, but is it skippy?
come on
Skip,
back.
skip, 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 skip.
She's avoided the OB, though. Having said that, that's a horrifyingly scary putt.
It is. You need a real up and down
Yes.
putt.
Sarah going to the backhand.
She's been pulling out her backhand this year, and she's got some decent distance on her backhand.
It's a little turn.
That was too straight.
Yep. Didn't quite have the rotations on it to really bring that skip like we saw out of Valerie. Boom. A lot of action on that disc.
And I love the way that the spotter manicures the sand
I
after
totally
every
agree.
group goes through.
Recarves out the Tpwdgc. Come on, Sarah. Oh. Yeah, tough putt, but it is really tough to give it a full chain high go from that drop zone.
Yeah,
Ooh, Valerie's dad, Art, in the background. Good dude. He's him and his the mother and father travel around a lot with them, and it's so fun to kind of hang out with them off the course.
Okay.
Now her options: drop zone or re-putt. She doesn't get to go up there. Okay, so this is an interesting situation with the rules. Technically, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Elaine, the group consensus can agree to where the spot was if you pick up your disc, right?
Correct.
Okay.
She picked up her disc too quickly. She went, whoops, I actually wanted to re-putt, and put it where she thought. And you saw her looking to the group saying, yes, is that where it was?
Oh,
Well,
great.
Why didn't I do that the first time, she's saying.
Exactly. Such a good fix there. Right in the heart. A little bit of flutter, but shoot, when it's in there, it's in there. You can see the spotter's handiwork down here now.
And I always walk around it. Oh,
Heather,
Paige, you walk through it.
It's like the foul line on a baseball field.
Man. Heather picks up her par. And yeah, such an unfortunate hit on the top of the band, and it went right in the water for Valerie.
But the great save, though, having said that, I mean, a bogey after that, that's quality. Paige doing work on the card here, sets herself up now with a 5-stroke lead over Valerie. It was looking close there the first few, but...
Well, Valerie charged out of the gate, and now Paige is picking up the strokes. And here's another score separator, is hole number 7, the Clown's Mouth. You must get it through that opening. You don't have to do it on your drive. You can go through the mouth on
Very
your
true.
second shot.
Yeah, common play, we see a lot of players just chipping up to the mouth, not really trying to get too aggressive, and then, taking their chances on a 40-foot, 43-foot putt.
Well, that was not Drew Gibson today. He
my
just
God.
smashed it into the chains
did.
for an ace.
And a $2,500 bounty on top of that, so kudos to him.
Now, Paige, we saw her yesterday lay it up, but she's too long.
Yeah, she does miss all 3 of the Mandos, unfortunately. So she is going to have to go to a very, very punitive drop zone. Funky angle, almost a guaranteed 4.
And it's so disappointing when you're intending to lay up and
Yes,
you don't do it.
Yes. That's why I don't lay up, Elaine. Just kidding. That's why I'm not a great player either. Heather, a little fluffy.
Yeah, she's trying to lay up. And
She hasn't missed it yet, but she almost has a tougher lie than the drop
she
zones.
has laid up in a terrible position. It's probably going to be a 4. And Valerie is trying to... It must be the wind. Why are all these women
Pushing right.
pushing right?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit taily, a little bit maybe left to right tail, kind of bringing it over to the right side there.
So when you're Sarah Hokum watching all those 3, I think she's going to say, I'm going to push it a little bit over to the
Yes,
left
I totally agree.
and let the disc fall to the right.
Which she does brilliantly. The mouth actually is slightly canted of an angle, and so it is actually a slightly bigger opening for that left to right shot. It isn't like dead center straight on. You can see these approaches from the drop zone are just no fun. Fun maybe for like a game of horse or pig, but not when you're trying to save par.
Yeah, not when you've got a kind of a wicked side/tailwind.
Yeah.
That flag keeps changing the direction it's pointing at.
Flick roller, I
Okay,
do love me some of this.
Stop, though.
Ugh,
I think
finds that OB.
Yeah, she went long. That's the thing. You have to just flick your putter ever so gently and put it on kind of a steep angle. And it's hard to get yourself to do that.
Sarah, unfortunately, can't send it down. Is going to take the par, though, and at this point, after watching Heather and a couple of the Miss Mandos, par's feeling pretty good.
Oh, she's
Wow.
feeling like a victory. Wow. Wow.
That was a firm putt. That was like a frustration. I'm not taking a double here putt. Good cleaning up there by Paige.
Such a stiff wind. And I have a feeling this is not the last we're going to see because we know when we get to the Coliseum holes that the Coliseum plays havoc with the wind. It bends it around. So,
Oof, 3 bogeys and the lone par for
Yikes.
Sarah.
yikes, that's a tough hole for the group.
Yeah, drew some blood, but hole 8 looking to get back on the horse, a par 5. So a little bit of room for error if anyone does make it. This is a toughie though, 697, hazard on the right, OB on the left, and a tight tunnel really on your 3rd shot as you're trying to approach the green.
And these women are not aiming for par. They're aiming to get a 3.
Yes.
A 3 is very possible. And depending on where you land on the drive, you might even have an aggressive 2nd shot and see if you can scoot it up there to give yourself a chance for the birdie.
A little bit of mozzarella sticks with some pesto this year by the green, so that is something to contend with. And I believe they put them there because there was a big tree there at one point, and it either fell or they took it down, and it really opened up that green.
It did. So why not have yet more obstacles on this particular hole?
This fairway just so beautiful though, flat, not so open though, and these just big mature trees to throw around.
Yeah, it is gorgeous, and great shot from Sarah, getting lots of distance. She's free of those big trees and can focus on her approach shot.
Paige, my guess is she's gonna go boom sauce, as Sarah Holcomb always says. Medium boom sauce.
And as you can see, that was a little aggressive. She did go pushing it right, with flirting with the OB and missing that tree. And so that's an aggressive line, but that gets her well up the fairway and in position.
Yeah, I think Paige is thinking 3 on this one. If she gets in position off the tee, you know she has the distance for it.
Yeah, yesterday we saw her play this for the 4.
Yeah, went a little passive on the 2nd shot.
Yeah, she just wasn't in position. She was aiming for the 4 and ended up picking up a 5 because of a approach shot that landed in a bush. Valerie, that's a great looking shot as well.
Perfectly centered, right in the middle, not flirting with the right, not flirting with the left, and she's going to be in position to air it over that little OB pond or gully on the left side there on her next shot.
And Heather's throwing a position shot here. This is what we saw her do yesterday. Landed up there on that knoll, and that really favors her left to right.
Natural release.
Backhand release for the 2nd one. And Valerie, that's a little bit aggressive into the hill. Like, you don't want to...
It's green!
Whoa.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, she kind of blasted it low into the hill. That's not how you want to have it softly land. She needed to put that a little bit higher. Even a sidearm would have been perhaps a safer choice.
Sarah licking her chops on this hole, though, as it does play very favorably for the sidearm.
And she just threw it as well as far as she could.
So it looks a little congested up there, but there is actually a little pathway to the basket right along that baseball fence. So if you find yourself real pinched, you could kind of make it happen along the wall there.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen players play it high. And the roller, stand up.
If it gets up, we're in
Stand
biz.
up. I'm not sure that,
Yeah, she is going to have pretty simple approach, though, to the green for her 4, though, at least.
So Valerie taking it a meter in from the OB line without penalty. Using all the available space, and we'll see how long a putt she has.
Yeah, should be in business, though. Looked pretty pure out of the hand. Tough footing, but great execution. Perfectly played.
Yeah, she's got that nice stable disc that skips right in there, and Sarah, as you said, has got a nice angle at the hole. You can see how gently she threw that. She will have to contend with those mozzarella sticks on her putt.
Paige is actually in position here to give it a really long eagle bid. little bit knocked down by the wind probably. Didn't quite have that loft and push that we're used to seeing out of Paige's putt.
It's a short putt, but it's very uphill.
Very much so. Really got to sting it into those chains. She did a good job putting some heat on it. Just a little high. Heather makes the adjustment. She just always looks so confident on the green. It's like a zen. She just like kind of all emotion drops off, you know, not tight. She's just so loose and consistent. Yeah, good putt.
We're seeing some great putting through these obstacles.
Yes.
Weren't we at hole 2?
Yeah,
now
good
again
point.
on hole 8.
Paige tap in birdie, and I mean, you love to see that. Tap in birdie on 8, and really a handful of birdies for our players here. So they did a pretty good job on that one. 3 birdies and just the lone par for Val.
And as I said, it's a hole that's very birdieable
Yes.
as long as you don't make a mistake.
Hole 9, this one, also very birdieable, but it's much more difficult to not make a mistake on this one.
Well, the big question is, what way is the wind blowing?
Yes.
Because now we're on the, let's see, there's leeward. They were on the leeward side, nautical terms, on the past hole where they were sheltered from the wind. Now they're on the, I don't know, aft or something?
I don't know. I know starboard and port, and that's as far as my nautical knowledge goes.
Windward. Leeward and
Windward,
windward. They're on the
okay.
windward side of the Coliseum. So Sarah gets to be wind dummy.
Oof. Got it lofted up and looks to have the distance right, but yeah, is going to be left and unfortunately does find that OB.
And, you know, it's hard to say, was that disc too understable or did the wind just pick it up and push it?
Wow, you just saw Paige picked up the little grassies there and it ripped to her left. So I'm thinking that that wind wreaked havoc on Sarah's there. Hold. I think if it holds, it's good. Oh my gosh, no, it's great.
Or you could just throw it to the basket.
Just straight shot. What wind?
That was interesting because I was thinking compared to Sarah's shot, she should have pushed it more to the right. But that disc flew very true, didn't it?
Yeah, just kind of powered right through it. Now, this is what I was curious about. With this tee pad, it really doesn't offer a great layup opportunity. Oh my gosh. That's just not a situation you see in disc golf much, right? Putting your foot in the very front left of the pad and throwing it around a giant pole off the tee.
No, but see, this is Heather's game plan, and she's not going to be swayed by what anyone does. She's going to play the plan that will minimize her mistakes.
Looks solid, actually. Great. In
I
the
think-
meaty part of the island, but not close.
Yeah, I think she might be close to the drop zone. Now it's just a putter shot in underneath the basket.
Still sketchy, though. I mean, even if you do lay up, you're carrying OB no matter where you throw it, really.
You certainly are. And this drop zone has a big tree in the middle of it.
Yeah, pretty much an auto 4. I think it's going to take, like, a final round push. You still need to make up a couple strokes. Like, to actually give it a run, it takes a situation where things are very dire.
Yeah, I'm not sure hole 9 is the time
Yeah,
to make a big
yeah,
push.
even in the final round.
Beautiful putt.
2 rounds in a row, we've had a huge putt on this hole.
That must be a 45-footer.
Elevated basket, OB behind, no problem. Valerie. She's putting on a little bit of a putting clinic today. Putt's feeling good. Also feeling good, Heather.
She stuck to her plan and she got her par. Walking away feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah. Paige, really much closer than Valerie for her deuce. No problem. Takes the birdie, but isn't going to make up any strokes on, or isn't going to pull away from Valerie anymore, who at this point looks to be maybe her closest competition, at least on the card.
Absolutely. Valerie's playing a very strong game. She got out to that blazing start. And see, I don't think she's made much in the way of a mistake so far.
No, I mean, she took a couple holes off as far as the birdies go, but she's played it clean, 6 and 7, a little bit of a snafu there with a couple of bogeys, but she is going to be sitting at 2 down. Now, if you'd like to watch more, you're going to have to tune in to part 2.
Oh, do it. Tune in.
We'll see you there.